Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel. Do a country music video. I haven't done a country update in maybe a year. Not the most popular ones, but the guys that follow me that watch my country videos are always asking me to do them. And I'm always listening to country music, so I've actually bought quite a bit more than this that's already on the shelves. I just didn't show, but regardless, let's jump in. There's some really cool stuff here. So we'll start off with a little Southern rock, actually, with local heroes, Blackberry Smoke, Stoned. I showed this on my record store day, the last record store day haul. This is Blackberry Smoke doing the Rolling Stones, hence the name Stoned. I love their covers. The only thing I wish would have been, and they do some cool stuff. It's not your everyday songs that you hear everybody cover. I would have loved to hear them do Wild Horses, though. They do it live, and they do a phenomenal job of it. I would like to hear a studio version of that, but very cool. Those are still floating around for relatively cheap. I want to say you can get them for under $25. I do recommend them if you're a Blackberry Smoke fan. This one I picked up in Florida when I was there for the Welcome to Rockville festival. One of the local stores had this. I missed this when it came out. I don't remember this from record store day, but this was a record store day release. This is Waylon Jennings Live 1955. This is him. I believe he's 18, and from what I understand, these are the first recordings of Waylon. He had a radio show that he did in Texas, and he did some live, he sang some songs on there live, and these are the recordings, and they're pretty good. Obviously, if you're familiar with Waylon, his early stuff is more Nashville sound kind of stuff. It was the early 70s when he went the outlaw route, but very cool. I mean, Waylon Jennings is one of my all-time favorites, so I buy everything I run across from him. This isn't something that I'll pull out on a regular basis, but it's kind of a fun listen. I gave it a couple spins. Definitely worth checking out if you're a Waylon. And again, relatively cheap. I paid $15 for this, steel sealed. I've had this one for years. I don't remember what led to me pulling this out, but I went ahead and pulled it out. This is Kenny Rogers' Greatest Hits. Fantastic pressing, the MoFi pressing. Unfortunately, which is something that's common with the older MoFi jackets, is it's starting to split up here, so I can't put the record in there. The last time I put the record in, it started to split more. So I wish MoFi would use the tip-on jackets that the Stoughton tip-on jackets that Analog Productions and the ones that are used for the Tone Poets right now. They're just way better and much nicer jackets. Still really good album. If you run across it, that's one of the MoFis that hasn't gone up in price. You can get that one usually for under $30. The one that's hard to find is a Gambler, which I would like to have that one too. Next up, there was an online sale. This was one of the George Straits that I was missing. Cold Beer Conversation. There was another big hit off of this one. Was it Let It Go? I can't remember. It's George Strait. George Strait does not have a bad song. I love everything he's released. Unfortunately, I missed him when he came through a couple months ago. He was playing the night before Metallica, and honestly, I just didn't have the money to buy the Metallica tickets and the George Strait tickets, and I don't think my ankles would have held. I've got bad ankles. I've had a number of surgeries. I don't think they would have held up for 2 concerts in a row, but man, I want to see him so bad. Luckily, he came out of retirement. Hopefully, he tours through here again, but just one of the all-time, and maybe the all-time great George Strait. This one was just a couple years ago, too. I want to say this was like 15. Yeah, 2015 when this one came out. Next up, the newest from Cody Jinx. It's just a great album. I need to spend a little more time with this. I've only spun it twice, and it was a couple months ago. I've just had a lot of other stuff in the rotation, but Cody Jinx is one of my favorites. One of the Red Clay artists. If you haven't checked out Cody Jinx, highly recommend checking him out. Adobe Sessions, would probably be the album. That's probably his biggest album with the most hits on it, and would be a good place to start. All of his albums are great, though. Just a phenomenal artist. Mercy. And he actually did a double album. I don't know if you guys are familiar with... So Cody Jinx actually started off in a metal band. And the metal CDs, it was never released on vinyl. The metal CDs are super hard to find. I know Billy Hurst has one that he was able to get signed when he was hired as a photographer for his show. I believe it was a show in St. Louis. But so the same day that he released this, his newest country album, he released this. This is his new metal band called Caned by Nod. And this is None the Wiser. I haven't listened to this yet. It's still sealed. Looking forward to checking this one out, though. It just kind of got mixed in my inbox, and I kind of forgot about it. But so you guys will be seeing that in a future update. Next up, John Prine, September '78. I was disappointed with this. Was a record store day release initially, and they sold out everywhere, and they were going for like $75-$80. So I just passed on it. And then it got repressed a couple years ago, and you get it for like $15-$16 now. I love John Prine. I prefer studio John Prine, though. I've got This Is Alive. I've got another live album, and they're good, just not as good as the studio stuff. Maybe he's got some other ones that are better. You guys will have to comment and let me know, but this is really, it's a good album. It's just not as great as his studio albums are just fantastic. Next up, this one was kind of a disappointment. Billy and I went back and forth. As soon as I heard the name, I should have, it did give me pause, but I bought it anyway. So Parker Mccallum is one of the biggest artists coming out of Texas right now. He got signed to a major label. Who's he on? Does it say? Yeah, he got signed to MCA. This is his major label debut. The stuff he was doing in Nashville before he got signed was much better. And the cover will show you everything. It's called Gold Chain Cowboy, Parker Mccallum. He basically went from Indy to Nashville. It's a good album. It's not a great album, and he's kind of turned his back on the Texas fans, going more for the Nashville sound, which is not really the thing to do if you're a Texas artist. But he's young. Maybe he'll right his ways, I guess. I mean, he'll make more money this way, but lose those hometown fans. I'm trying to think who to compare him to. It's kind of halfway. So he's going for that kind of that Texas sound, but mixed with Nashville. And unfortunately, he doesn't commit to either. And that's kind of what hurts him. Like I said, it's still a good album. I listened to it a few times. It's enjoyable, but I couldn't tell you one song on here that stood out to me. I don't remember any of the songs individually. I just remember basically the sound, So, it is what it is. Next up, so actually we'll do those separately. Next up, I was really happy to find this one. I've been looking for a really clean copy of this. So this is Waylon Jennings. It's the self-titled album. This is actually a later, I think this is a 69 repress of Live at JB's, which is his debut album. His debut album, it was a private press in Arizona. It was recorded in Arizona. And where was it? Does it say on here? No. It was a really famous studio in Arizona that it's basically, I want to say it's a museum now, but it's just really good. And pre-Nashville. So when he got signed to Decca, they went back and re-released it. This has been released with like maybe seven different times with different names. All the same songs. They're in different orders, though. This is not the same order that they were originally in, but it's still a great album. Like I said, I've wanted this for a long time. my number one country grail is at JB's. But they go for crazy money. They don't pop up often. Like I said, they were private presses, and the chance of me finding it's pretty low. Still really happy to have that in the collection though. Let's see. Next up, this is amazing right here. So, I mean, this is a common album. You can find nice pressings of it all over the place. So when Vinyl Me Please started the Vinyl Me Please Country, they decided to start off with a bang, and the first few albums were outstanding. I mean, everything they did, they did the Stoughton Jackets. This one, Lacquer's cut from original analog tapes by Ryan Smith. Let's see. I thought it was played it at RTI. I thought Kevin Gray was involved. Maybe it's the next one that Kevin Gray did, but this is the best sounding Vinyl Me Please album that I've heard. Shotgun Willie from Willie Nelson. I mean, it's just an amazing album to start. I mean, this is Whiskey River. One of his biggest hits was on here. There's not a bad song on here. And it was totally worth it joining the club just for this one. The first one was Johnny Cash at Folsom. Then this one, and then Sturgill Simpson, Metamodern Music. I don't remember what was after that, but unfortunately, I think the Vinyl Me Please Country is kind of going downhill now. Like I said, Stoughton Jacket, plates by RTI, Ryan Smith, who's amazing. Now we've got one of the more recent ones. So they were putting out real country essentials, and then maybe 4 months ago they decided to do one of the modern artists. I can't remember. Was it Kane Brown? It may not have been, but it was that type of artist. The guys that listen to Shotgun Willie and Buck Owens are not the guys that listen to the modern country. So I don't know why. Everybody I know that did join this club swapped out albums for the month. And then this current 3-month stint, they're doing, I don't even know the name of the artist from last month. I had never heard of her. Apparently it's some really rare 90s album that people are after. I wasn't interested. Billy wasn't interested. A few other people I know didn't care, This month they did Loretta Lynn. It was a good album, but I've got a really nice original pressing, and it's one you can get really nice original pressings of for under $10. It's the album with the pill on it. And then next month is Lyle Lovett. I don't know anybody that likes Lyle Lovett, so they're kind of going down here, and the quality is going down as well. However, a few months ago they put out this one. Now this was actually done by so this one, it was mastered by Kevin Gray. It was pressed at Third Man. Now, Third Man is not generally my favorite pressing plant. They're hit or miss. I've heard some good stuff and some bad stuff that's come from them. This sounds amazing. This blows out the original pressing. Highly recommend people get a copy of this if they can. But this is Buck Owens and the Buccaneers at Carnegie Hall. This is a country music essential. Now, this was actually done by... what's the name of the company? By Sundays. The Sundays are the ones that put this together. Sundays got the rights for 4 of the Buck Owens albums. So they got that one. They also just did a repress of Bridge Over Troubled Waters. If you haven't heard Buck Owens, this is a good starting point. This album is beautiful. He covers Bridge Over Troubled Waters. Every song on here is just amazing. Let's see. Within My Loving Arms, Home. I mean, a number of these were radio hits for him. And they did a great job with the pressing. They also did one of his more popular albums. It's a Monster Holiday. Now, a lot of people have avoided this because they think it's a Halloween album. I think he kind of hurt himself by putting this cover on here because that's the only Halloween track on here. The rest of it's amazing. You got Amazing Love, I Love, Stony Mountain, West Virginia, which is a great song. I mean, it's just fantastic. So Sundays did that one. So that's 3. Hang on, there's one more floating around in here. And then this is the most recent one that they did, and this is the Buck Owens debut. This is pre-Buckaroos. And again, they just did an amazing job on these. And this blows away the original pressing that I have. And this one's done in mono. Just sounds amazing. Next up, this was a few months ago. So Colter put out a few months before that he was going to do an indie record store only release. It was limited to 3,000. It's Colter and the Scary Prairie Boys live in front of nobody. It's just them doing a live show. Western Swing and Waltzes is on here. A lot of his songs. Covers a little bit of Roger Miller. Covers Glenn Martin. This is just a great album. If you can find it, I've been lucky, so I couldn't find them anywhere. All my stores around here got 2 or 3 copies. They sold out before I got a chance. Billy Hurst knew that I really wanted this, so he sent a copy to me. And then, oddly enough, I started finding them all over the place. I found 3 of them after that in stores. One of them was just like a couple weeks ago, and those things have been going for over $100 on eBay for a while. So I grabbed another copy that I'm going to leave sealed. Colter's one of my favorites right now. And it just doesn't get much better than him. Next up, so I ran across this guy on Facebook on a video, and I was blown away. It was a video, Welcome to Hard Times. And this is Charlie Crockett. He's one of the biggest names in Texas right now. It doesn't get much better than him. He mixes traditional country with a little bit of R&B and a little outlaw. I mean, he is really good, and I hope he keeps going the way he is. He does all this stuff himself and then distributes it through 30 Tigers. He's got his own sound. I think he's got 6 or 7 albums in 4 years. I mean, he just pumps them out. He talked about during the pandemic, he just sat down and wrote. I mean, he was one of those guys. He decided he never looked for a record contract. He just started touring and decided he was going to, instead of sitting around trying to get a deal, he was just going to go out and work. And he's blowing up all over the place now. One of the artists that you need to check out. But this is Welcome to Hard Times. I'll put a link down below the video to this video. The whole album is awesome. I haven't heard a bad song from him. He's got a couple of really cool covers albums too. Just a guy worth checking out. And then this is his most recent one. This came out a few months ago. This one's called Music City, USA. Again, just another outstanding album. This was the indie. He did an indie release that comes with a signed print on the inside here. Again, if you can get this, and these are available through his website. All of his albums are. Just an amazing independent artist. And then let's fly through these real quick. I was at Walmart about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and I was shocked to see these and for super cheap. So Vinyl Me Please had pressed these a couple years ago, and they were close to $40, and between 30 and 40. And I just didn't want to pay that much. I love these artists, but for a single album, and I had a feeling it would get pressed again. I just didn't expect it to be by Walmart. And not only did they do an amazing job pressing them, they came with something special that the Vinyl Me Please didn't. So first up, we got Waylon, Austin City Limits. I believe this one's in 70, does it say? No, this one's 84. And actually, who is on here? Give me a sec. Yeah, Gary Scruggs. I was playing this last month. So Gary Scruggs, the son of Earl Scruggs, very famous himself, an amazing songwriter and just an amazing musician. He was in Waylon's band for, 20, 30 years. He just died not too long ago. Right before Christmas, he died. I believe it was from COVID complications, but he was an amazing guitar player. And you know, it was really sad that we lost him. But anyway, but what's cool about these, they come on really nice vinyl. They all sound amazing. It was like $22, but these also come with the actual show, the actual the DVD from the Austin City Limits that these were recorded at. So, and that was something that you didn't get with the Vinyl Me Please ones that were twice as much. So, next up, Merle Hacker. This is one that was from the 70s. Yeah, 78. Again, you know, it doesn't get much better. And like I said, Austin City Limits, 1978. And then last but not least, the Godfather, Willie Nelson. This one's actually a 2 LP. This was a special. It was a longer show. And this was September 6th, 1990. And again, we got the Blu-ray, or I'm sorry, the DVD for that one. I wish they would have done it in Blu-ray. That would have been awesome. And then the last two. These are two of the most anticipated albums for me. The first one is Deanne by Zach Bryan. I don't have these in sleeves yet because I'm still playing these over and over pretty much. Zach Bryan is really special. He so I found out about him about 2 years ago, on Facebook again, or I'm sorry, on YouTube. I ran across one of his videos and was blown away. Found out he was in the Navy, stationed in Whidbey Island, which was my first duty station. And the record labels were coming at him, giving him all these crazy offers. And he said no. He said he was going to finish his time. He was only 2 years in. He could have walked away with a record deal. Decided to finish out his tour. And he was releasing songs here and there. He was doing a lot of shows all over. Anytime he went on leave, he would do a couple shows. He released this album last year, digital. All of his stuff had been digital. You know, he's in the Navy. He didn't have money to press this stuff. So this was pressed by Warner Records. This is, again, it's from 2019. I don't know if he signed with them or if he just did a deal to release this, but you know, it's just a thin jacket. I mean, real plain, real simple. It's $20. Kind of like his sound is. Man, how do I describe him? He's kind of a cross between Tyler Childers and, can't think of his name right now. Tyler Childers and Jason Isbell. He kind of sits right between them. On some of the songs, he actually sounds like, man, what is going on with me tonight? Tyler Childers. Sorry, it's late. Highly recommend grabbing this. It's an outstanding album. It's mostly just him and his guitar, and it's a great album. Last but not least, this is my big music discovery of this year. He's been out for a couple of years. He has become one of my favorites. I listen to his stuff all the time. I'm trying to find his first 3 albums. They're impossible to find. They're going for $300 plus right now on eBay and Discogs. This one still pops up in the stores, but it's Amigo the Devil, Born Against. He is really hard to describe. A little bit of country, a little bit of folk. I've heard a lot of people call him, he's the king. He's the new king of murder ballads. Everything he does is really dark, but in a really funny way. Highly recommend checking this guy out. I remember seeing his record at the last record store day. And you can still get those. I think I just ordered one online for like $28. But I was intrigued by the picture, but I had never heard of him, and I didn't expect it to be what it is. So Headley, what's his channel? Another fat bearded man talking about records. I can't remember what his channel is, but you guys that are watching this know who Headley is. Headley did a video about this album talking about it. And when he explained it, I was like, oh my God, I got to check this out. Well, this was 2 days before Welcome to Rockville when I saw his video. Well, when I got to Welcome to Rockville, I hadn't paid attention to the lower artists on the bill. I was looking at the big artists. He was probably the only non-metal hard. There was one rap guy that was horrible that played, and nobody went and watched him. But Amigo the Devil took the stage, a country guy at a heavy metal festival. And he just killed it. He was on a small stage. And when he started out his show, there were maybe 200 of us there. And by the end of his show, there were a couple thousand people crowded around. I mean, he was pulling people in. He was probably the second best performer that I saw at Welcome at Rockville. And I saw some classic bands there. Metallica was there. Slipknot was there. I saw Social Distortion there. But he was one of the best performances. Actually, after this, I'm going to put a couple clips. You can still get this. I highly recommend checking this one out. The two songs on here that I really recommend are Murder at the Bingo Hall, which is one of the funniest songs I've ever heard, and Drop for Every Hour, which is about him killing the guy one drop at a time that killed his daughter. I mean, his albums, there's a little bit of psychobilly in there in the topics, kind of like the stuff that the Necromantics would write about in their early days. And some of the grooves are a very rockabilly groove. Some of it's really traditional country. He's a really inventive guy, and I think he's really going to blow up. So, I highly recommend checking him out. I'll put a couple of clips from Welcome to Rockville at the end here. Take care, guys. I hope everybody's good. See you soon. Bye.
We both knew there's no prize at the end of this game. I gave up the ghost a long time ago. It still haunts me. I'm a goddamn mess for you to clean up, but I like it. And your dream turned into a nightmare when I crawled inside it. And the whole thinks I'm insane, and it might be true. But if I'm crazy for you. I never thought there'd be a day I didn't get to hold my daughter. Terrified knowing that I'd never come to terms with this at all. I never knew how much I could hate till I read that letter. And like you say, none of us are saints if I the call. But I never knew how patient I could be till I watched you bleed. But there's nothing I can take from you that means what she did to me. Every word from your fucking mouth is like bringing wood to a burning house. And we'll be here all night till ashes are all we breathe. So I'll take you up for every hour she'll never bend. I'll hide it. You are the hammer, I am the nail, building a house in the fire on the hill. There is a string that leads me to hope. I tied the noose, but you are the rope. And it was a lie that got me in bed. I am the dog, you are the shed. I can't find a perk in the Percocet when you're not around. This is the fight that taught me to feel. I am the drum, you are the wheel. So I drink till the night comes another day, and the day's just another little thing in the rain. No one ever chooses to be a flawed design. I'm not jealous, I'm just hoping that he really fucks things up. Not so much ashamed of being alone, just kind of feeling I've had enough. It feels different now, right? Time again, time reminds me you'll never be my own. Never have a house to pick great place that we can call our home. So I hope your husband dies. So I got into a cab that smelled like vinegar, stains that showed what's in the world before. I want to be where all the stupid shit I say sounds so romantic and true. Cause I'd rot in hell with you if you just asked me to. I love the shitty things we do together. Live with me in this sin forever. And you, I know you wanted to. I say you take the shot, see this chance, feel the fire, and let me have this dance with you.